Happy New Year, civilians in 2025. 2034 is a year I'd rather forget for the most part. But at least the transphobic J.K. Rowling died in this reality, so there's that. Anyways, highlights time, baby! God, that was cringe.
There's something weird going on here. Could this be the work of a monk?
I was planning on waiting until the other Sailor Guardians were drawn here by the light of the Ferris wheel. Die!
On day 17, contestant Michael Scoopin inhaled some of the smoke from the fire and collapsed into it, severely burning his hand and shoulder, and resulting in him being medically evacuated from the game. This was the very first time in American Survivor that a contestant was close to death. The scarring, the screams of agony that hurt to fucking see on television. For many viewers, they thought they were watching a scripted show about people on an island competing in silly challenges for a bunch of money. So to see something this real, this harmful, this serious happen, and to millions of viewers, this was a major moment for the series at the time. And showcased that, no, Survivor is not fake. This was very much a real moment that happened, and had real-life consequences for Scoopin, as it took him a year to recover from that serious injury. Now, looking back on this, with the knowledge of him being a convicted offender towards a minor, I view this as more so a foreshadowing of his future punishments in hell, but at the time, this was a shocking moment, and also a very important one for the show going forward. Fuck Scoopin! Even ignoring his later actions off the show, I didn't like this guy one fucking bit. His social game sucked. His cockiness was more annoying than charming. The dude was hella ageist against people like Roger.
And especially swimming challenges and climbing challenges, and it's not just Roger, it would be anybody over 50 years old.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut up! Shut up!
Tina was a major surprise on my rewatch. I thought she was a weak winner and only made it because she was nice back then. But, oh no! God no! She also deserves her spot in Survivor history. Yes, she's kind, but she also had an amazing social game, and was also effectively pulling the strings the entire merge, while still maintaining her kind, innocent self to the other contestants. Her chemistry with the other contestants was fantastic, her challenge performance was pretty good. She deserves her spot as one of the best winners out there. A damn good strategist, a great social player, a kind soul that also has no issue cutting you loose in this game, but at the very least, she'll do it gently. One of the best players in the original era of Survivor.
But funny enough, the encounter isn't even my favorite song in this game. That honor goes towards the final boss theme, Darkness of the Unknown. When I first got to this song, 12-year-old me thought this was really cool, but now that I'm much older, I can appreciate it a lot more. The first phase starts off with a slow burn, as the instruments begin to amp up in intensity, and then the song starts to get faster, as the composition gets more chaotic and intense, which continues with the introduction of the violin to the song, adding in a more cold, fragile, emotional side to the song, as the song continues to pick up in intensity, culminating in the final portion with the rhythm and beats slow down, and the song begins to take on a more sad tone, as if this is the death throes of someone's life. And sure enough, it is. Throughout this final portion of the game, you are effectively dismantling Xemnas bit by bit, starting with his organization, then his castle, then his throne, and finally, his life. This felt like less of a boss fight and more of a film where you witness the downfall of Xemnas, capped off with the climax of him fading into nothingness, and seeing that final cinematic before the credits roll. This looked so fucking incredible back in the day, and it still looks great now. And to think, almost every cutscene in KH3 has this similar style quality to it. That's insane! If 12-year-old me saw that, they would have their mind figuratively blown. Actually, let me break character for a moment. This final portion of KH2 means a lot to me. This 4-act structure with things ramping up with each subsequent act and getting more and more crazy is an aspect I loved seeing, so much so that I tried to replicate it myself in a lot of my works at varying degrees of success. Some of you may have noticed it in the likes of Part 4 of the David What If, but I've also attempted it in other works like Pokemon World Revolution, for those who remember that shit show, Team DPAS, and many others. When a moment in media is so powerful you want to replicate it, that's a sign of how great it is. Well, at least to me. But yeah, I genuinely love this final portion of KH2. It's the highlight of the game for me every time I play it. Anyways, back to the DMP character real quick. Another issue I had, though it's a smaller one, is that Maleficent and Pete barely do anything in the story. Wasn't Maleficent one of the major antagonists of the last game? Legit, she puts up some vines in Disney Castle, revives Oogie Boogie but leaves after he's a dick, shows up during the big battle of Hollow Bastion / Radiant Guardian, and then fucks off until the end of the game where she takes on the Heartless while Zora deals with Xemnas. Now, I get that the idea is that the organization is such a problem here that even the likes of Maleficent have to work together with the heroes to stop them, but the way this was executed is so poor to me, and it honestly feels like she just wasn't needed here. Like, what would change if Maleficent was removed from this game? Oogie Boogie doesn't come back? Oh no, not the second worst boss fight in the game! The Disney Castle stuff? Pete was effectively dealing with the Timeless River shit, so just have him do it. The bit at Hollow Bastion? Someone else can teleport the trio away, or something just happens that forces them to retreat. The final world where she takes on the massive army of darkness? Again, Pete can probably handle that. So, yeah, Maleficent feels wasted here. And that also drags down Pete, since he's effectively Maleficent's lackey, despite arguably doing more than she does in this game. Not much more, but it's something. Now, I'd say that this issue got fixed in 3, but that would be a lie, as the two are just going around looking for a black box.
I fucking hate it here! Oh my god!
Throughout the main story, Batman makes it clear that eventually the two will have a fight that results in one of them killing the other. But Batman wants to try and help Joker to prevent that scenario from happening. Even after his partner gets crippled, his close friend is traumatized and kidnapped, not in that order but still, he still wants to rehabilitate Joker to prevent that scenario of one of them killing each other. And I think that's a good depiction of Batman. When you put aside the memes of him beating up the lower class, Batman as a character just wants to help people and also prevent what happened to him as a child from happening to anyone else. It's just that sometimes he has to use fear to get that message through to them, and this version of Batman does exactly that. And that's great, because at his core, Batman is supposed to be a hero, and this version nails that really damn well. I also like this version of the Joker. Well, it's good to see the silly but chaotic nature the Joker can bring to the screen at points, like in Batman TAS, as well as The Batman, the animated series, not the movie. It's rare to see a Joker that is still silly, but scary at the same time. This one is not afraid to kill a good amount of people to get his message across. This one can put on a big old smile but still look incredibly fucking terrifying. He's not my favorite Joker, not by a long shot, since I prefer the more so silly but chaotic Jokers by comparison, but this one still is an effective Joker to me, as he's intimidating but can also be really silly at points, like having this big battle in a carnival, having a musical number with members of his fucking circus troupe, etc. The relationship between Bruce and Barb is not a good one, and the film agrees with that. The film makes it very clear that this relationship is not meant to be a good one. The two are constantly distant from the other, either from a physical or emotional level, and Batman makes it clear that she views this as more so a game, and not a serious thing like he does, showing the gap in not only experience, but also maturity. This is actually a pretty common thing with Bruce Timm's work and involves these two as an item. It never works out, and it always ends badly. Now, there's a claim out there that Bruce likes to ship these characters, but considering how every time he does this it ends badly, I don't think he likes to ship them. I think he just likes telling the story about how it's a bad idea. Why does he do so? Well, why do most authors write their stories? Because they have an idea they want to express or a story they want to talk about. Now, some might argue that, oh, it's executive meddling that is the reason for the ship not getting anywhere. But you think after the second try, WB would just tell Bruce Timm to fuck off with making these two a couple and just never try it again? But they didn't. And there's no news articles or interviews saying that they were against it or that it was planned for these two to be an item/couple. So I don't buy the claim that he ships the two. He just likes to tell the story about why this is a bad idea. Now, some might ask what I mean. After all, isn't Bruce Timm the one who created this ship in the first place? Well, no. In fact, this happened many times in the comics, where Barbara was either dating Bruce or even Clark Kent. Hell, Bruce and Barbara's ages have constantly flip-flopped over the decades that many associate Bruce as being many decades older than Barbara, who's closer to Dick's age when, no. Bruce and Barbara were originally closer in age. We see this with examples like Barbara working as a librarian, her being in her mid-20s and the like, and Bruce being closer to 30. It's a little bit closer in terms of their ages. If anything, Dick got aged up a decent amount to make the shit between him and Barbara a lot less creepy. So yeah, this was common back in the older comics, and going off the writing of this movie, Batman Beyond, and its comic of that, Bruce Timm didn't like this ship and wanted to showcase why it'd be a terrible one in his works. The point I'm trying to make isn't that you should like this ship. I don't like this ship either. I fucking despise it. The point I am trying to make, however, is that Bruce Timm, going off of these 3 attempts, does not like it either. He just likes telling the story of why it doesn't work. At least going off of the analysis I did from these 3. Hell, even in the sex scene that everyone talks about, which is also fucking weird, don't get me wrong, Batman is fucking confused as to what's going on, and he hesitates before going along with it. And as a result, he tries to ghost Batgirl after it happens, showcasing that it wasn't a good thing for him. And actually, wait a minute. The two were arguing and fighting earlier, both verbally and physically. Batgirl's on top of Batman, who has no reaction. She kisses him, and Batman's confused, hesitating for going along with it, and is clearly not happy with it afterwards. Isn't there a legal term for that?
Because I feel like there's a term for that.
Feels so nostalgic to have my auto back. Hopefully this one actually matches the gender I was looking for this time.
Motherfucker!
Domain expansion. Malevolent backshots. Fuck, it didn't work. What? Whoa! What on earth are you? Huh? May have a bit of a different color to it, but it's still... Oh, my Samurott. You're my precious boy. But I think it's time for another change. I originally got rid of this because I wasn't worthy. This one trusts me enough to evolve, eventually. There was a way of saying thank you, and also as a way to apologize to that Banerian sinner. I think it's time I make things right. You will be my second teammate. Of which, I think it's time to evolve. I'm going to destroy. I'm not going to lose, Brapieri. I know what Samurotts look like. That is not a Samurott, that is a monster. It may look like it from the outside, but inside it's still as pure-hearted as any other Samurott I've seen and you have seen. The appearance changes nothing. It's still a loyal and strong warrior. Ceaseless Edge. Oh. Giratina, knock him down! You can try, but you're not going to win.
Oh, give up now, David. It's over. I'll make your death quick and painless as I erase this universe and create a new one.
No.
Why do you resist?
Because I have a timeline to return to. On top of that, I still have a girl in front of me outside of that. There are those in the present that are looking for me, and there are those in the past, here, that I must save. From you. From Giratina.
Your Lopunny can't do anything, so give up.
I thought that once before. But this Baneri, this Lopunny has proved me wrong. I let two of them down in the past, and I'm not doing it anymore! I refuse to give up! Not for that Badu, not for that Baneri, not for my Manaphy, not for my Samurott, not for my Zoroark, not for my Lilligant, not for my Gliscor, and not for my Lopunny. This is for all of them! So now, taste our power! Let's go, Usagi!
I'm going to risk it all for this. If I do nothing, Aura Sphere is going to go off. Doggy. For everybody. Strong style! Fire up!
What? No! That's impossible!
It's not impossible. You're done. You lost.
This is a major misconception I continue to see even nowadays.
Seawater getting into the engine room caused a massive boiler explosion, as fuel tanks were ripped open and dumped hundreds of gallons of fuel into the sea.
No.
The Sophia's boilers did not explode. Not only because if it did, some of the victims would have the effects of either steam burns from the explosion or would have shrapnel in them due to the explosion, when most of the autopsies determined they died from drowning or suffocating due to swallowing oil. Well, the other major thing is that divers have gone to the Sophia wreck multiple times since the disaster and found the boilers perfectly fine. Actually, wait a minute.
While he doesn't find Eileen Winchell, the diver does uncover more bodies trapped below.
So, in the area where the explosion took place, the diver went down there and didn't notice that, hey, there's no sign of an explosion here, or, hey, these sections are still intact. He was able to find some of the bodies in that section. Give me a break. So where did this claim even come from? Well, some sources claim it was from this book, The Sinking of the Princess Sophia, Taking the North Down With Her, which was released in 1991, and after borrowing a copy, I found the claim in question. It was a guess from the author's end.
You fucking idiot!
From the screen to the ring to the pen to the
Where's chapter 2? Oh, that's easy. It's in episode 3. Which actually creates a fucking mess in continuity, because at this point in the story, they stopped doing cremation because of the spiral curse, and yet, when the relative of Kyrie's boyfriend dies in this episode, she's cremated.
You fucking idiot!
This made sense in the manga because it happened in chapter 2, while the cremation ban was in chapter 7. In the anime, the ban happens in episode 2, so now it doesn't make any fucking sense for them to be cremating when episode 3 rolls around. Actually, considering the multiple delays, I'm kind of wondering what the fuck they were doing with all this time if this is the end result. I mean, besides the higher up pissing away the budget. 2 hours? Yeah, but these are the people responsible for crap like this happening who continue to get away with this shit, while the animators and writers, you know, the ones who actually fucking create, get thrown under the bus and treated as the proverbial scapegoat by these fucks. They decided for the anime to be handled in this direction. They decided to make it only 4 episodes. They decided to hire a studio that is only really known for in-between animation to completely animate some of these fucking episodes, and they are the ones who get the praise for projects succeeding, but conveniently are quick to hide or blame others for when their projects fail. Now, obviously, I am not incentivizing harassment. That shit is fucking cringe. But calling out their ass / pinning the blame on them is not harassment, as long as it doesn't go too far. Unfortunately, a lot of people tend to think harassment / death threats are the solution to these issues, but it only makes things worse, and it doesn't fix the core fucking problem. That is not holding these people accountable for these appalling work conditions, or in this case, the project getting treated poorly. Overall, the anime is a fucking letdown. However, like I said earlier, my frustration is not at the people who animated or wrote this. It's at the higher-ups who didn't actually create shit and fucked over the production and the budget. So thanks. I hope you don't get harassed, but I do hope people give you critique instead of having the animators and writers be the fucking fall people yet again. And so ends yet another turn of the Junji Ito anime cycle. Gets announced, people hype it up, hoping that this one will finally break free of the curse, comes out, and it ends up sucking. Maybe next time it'll be handled by higher-ups that know what they're doing, but I'm not gonna hold my fucking breath. Well, the music is once again fantastic, but I do have one issue. So I've talked about this in the Borneo video, I believe. The Rites of Passage moment / song. Well, the song used there, also titled Rites of Passage by Russellendo, probably mispronounced that, is also used in this season multiple times.
Nice sunrise.
Look, I get that it's sometimes used to convey the majesty of Africa and all that, and yes, Africa is a pretty place. But holy fuck, could you at least compose a different song to showcase that? Oh, well, maybe they did use a new song for the Rites of Passage moment? Nope. Kind of loses its majesty when you played it a good chunk of time throughout the fucking season. Only real flaw I have with the music here, though. But yeah, I like Silas. In the game. As a person, however, he can go straight to hell. Hopefully that pitchfork's gonna be extra fucking sharp.
And you panicked.
Dodo, I know you ain't talking, you dumb fuck. What was that?
I gave you half a bar to use however you see fit, and you panicked.
You wasted 3 bars, did nothing, and died.
Big Tom was a hell of a lot of fun, even though he was a fucking dumbass in terms of strategy. But yeah, he was hilarious. He had fantastic chemistry with the rest of the players, especially Lex and Ethan. Basically his ride or dies of the season. Insanely loyal until Lex started to fuck things up, and then he started to take action. Yeah, he did say some dumb shit.
He's a Jew and he won't eat ham. He's a Jew.
But it's kind of hard to hate on the guy when he's up and dancing or doing insane shit. Like, It's a case of, yeah, what he said was bad, but it's not so much out of malice, just more so that he's not exactly the brightest, which, fair enough.
I'm sorry. I'm a Caucasian.
I mean, at this point, I don't really take offense. I know he's joking. You know, he doesn't really mean it.
Plus, I gotta respect a fellow dad who's all about his kids and wife, at least in my reality. Point is, Big Tom was great.
You're so reality challenged.
That was my fuse! Shut your bitch ass up! That woman is a fraud! My plan is going to work.
Speaking of good, the audio department's fantastic. The songs are incredible, my favorite being the cover of the titular Grandma Got Run Over song, but I also enjoyed the songs made exclusively for this version, like Grandma's Spending Christmas with the Superstars, Grandma's Killer Fruitcake, and of course, Grandma Gonna Show the Penance of Santa, which is so fucking stupid I can't help but laugh at the absurdity of it all here. Yeah, it's incredibly stupid, and it's a bit generic, but honestly, I had a lot of fun with this movie.
What? 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 What?
Again, I liked the main character of Jake, I liked the grandma, I thought the villain was an enjoyable sack of shit, the songs are fucking great, the vocal performances are of course fantastic. Some may argue it's a so bad it's good movie, others may say it's a good movie to riff on, but to me, I just really enjoyed the movie, warts and all, or whatever the term is nowadays. Like, of course it's not perfect, of course it has problems to it, but at the same time, I was loving the movie. I loved seeing the character of Grandma and Jake on screen. I loved some of the witty writing. I loved the song performances. It's not the most deep Christmas special, but at the same time, I honestly had a lot of fun with it. Hell, it filled me with a similar sense of warmth and happiness that I felt with movies like Rudolph and Santa Claus is Coming to Town back when I reviewed all those Rankin Boss movies back in the day. No, it's not as good as, say, Rudolph or Santa Claus, but I'd say it's a 7 or 6 out of 10. I had a good time with it.
But I'm not done yet.